Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So if you are new to the channel, thank you so much for stopping by. As you guys can see from the title of the video, we are going to be talking about Chrisean and Blueface. I think it's very vital to talk about them, to speak about them. I have definitely mentioned Chrisean in some of my deep dive videos talking about, you know, the baby mama culture. I'm going to leave that video down below. If you have not watched it, you can check it out. Today we are going to be solely focusing on Chrisean, her antics, her behavior, and how Chrisean is going to be the reason as to why Blueface has a big demise if he does not stay away from her. Give this video a thumbs up if you are not new, if you're a regular viewer. Also, y'all, I'm, contemplating on, don't take my word for it, I'm contemplating on participating in Vlogmas, basically uploading every day up until Christmas, or even if I do not upload every day, almost every day. How you guys will help me out a lot to be able to start this up is giving this video a thumbs up and subscribing to the channel if you have not done so. So I do not want to ramble. We're gonna get straight into it. So as you guys know, Blueface has recently been released from prison about a week ago, and it has been so much going on since that's happened. But before Blueface got released from prison, we are going to take it back to a couple of years as to when, right before he went to prison, when Chrisean was pregnant with his baby, allegedly, right? If you guys know, or if you guys don't know, Chrisean ended up being pregnant by Blueface's baby, allegedly. There's been a lot of speculations around the child being Bluefaces or not being Bluefaces. There have been rumors that have said that Chrisean's other ex that she used to date back then before she met Blueface was the father of that kid, has went on rants calling out Chrisean, basically saying that Chrisean was cheating on Blueface when she was with Blueface. And it is actually very crazy because I remember when that whole situation was going on before she got pregnant. I remember she used to stay complaining about Blue cheating and sleeping with multiple different women. And I remember Blueface used to say stuff like, "You're cheating as well. You think I don't know what you're doing? Like, you're doing shady stuff, da da da."
You had got into it with Chrisean based on her hanging out with rappers, essentially.
Nah, hell no. She had this thing about her where she looked like I was jealous or something. So she kind of started doing shit. My whole thing was like, once you become an artist, certain shit just is like, it's frowned upon, you know?
Yeah.
Obviously, networking, dope. Take a picture, cool.
Right.
You know, get in the studio, cool. But a lot of these guys, they're not really trying to work. You know?
Right.
They're just trying to make it look like something it's not, and just basically just stake your buzz. And she just kept going for it. Every day, she just keeps going for it. Like,
do you know if it was true?
I'm looking like, get the feature.
Well, I was going to say, do you know if it was true? Because there was this rumor that Offset hooked up with Chrisean Rock.
Yeah, they got it. Yeah, she got.
While y'all were together?
Nah, I was already engaged with somebody else, so I didn't care. But she has a thing where she likes to make it seem like I care.
Right. So she Offset while he was with Cardi.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
To be real, I used to think Blue was just talking. Like, I really just used to be like, yeah, whatever, Blue, like, you're just talking. Lo and behold, as soon as she got pregnant, one of her exes came out the woodworks with a whole bunch of receipts and papers and documents to back up the fact that her and him were sexually active on several different occasions while she was dealing with Blueface, and that he could potentially be the father. And all he wanted was a DNA test. That's all he wanted. And she refused to give it to him. And I remember there were several times where Blueface used to say, "That's not my baby. Like, that's not my kid. That's not my child." And I feel like we all thought that Blueface was very narcissistic, which he is. And I feel like we all thought that Blueface was the perpetrator, which he is. But the thing is, Blueface was not the only perpetrator. Chrisean was as well. But I feel like, growing up, we didn't realize how manipulative Chrisean was. I feel like we peeped that, but we didn't know how bad it was up until Blueface went to jail and she was able to do bad all by herself. I think shortly after Blueface was locked up, Ronnie ends up getting murdered. And there's been a lot of speculations that have said that Chrisean has had something to do with his murder, because right before he got murdered, he went on a whole bunch of rants about how he was demanding a DNA test, how that baby was his. I remember he went to go on an interview with Tasha K to basically try to expose Chrisean and expose their whereabouts and the cheating allegations and everything.
Junior is not my son. I deserve to have that proven to me through what? A DNA test. If Junior is not my son, the DNA test will prove that. Right or wrong? Right. Any father on here, any real man, stand-up man that potentially has the privilege of being a father would want to make things right and would want to know if that's his child. Yeah. Around that time, Blue know what's up. Chrisean was back and forth from what? LA to Baltimore. LA to Baltimore. Y'all know that. Every single last one of y'all know that. She told y'all out her own mouth. I'm not here to expose nobody. I'm not going to sit here and tell y'all, oh, why is Tasiki and Sean not cool? I'm not going to tell y'all that. I'm not going to tell y'all that. That ain't got nothing to do with me. I want to know if Junior is my son or not.
And a lot of people speculate that she has something to do with his murder, allegedly. It's actually crazy because the way she talks about Ronnie's murder gives off very guilty. Like, it like, I don't know, like the way she fidgets when she speaks about his murder, and the disconnect and the disassociation that she has when she speaks about his murder gives off that she definitely has something to do with it. Or even if she didn't have something to do with it, she knows something about the situation. And after seeing Chrisean on our TV for so many years, after she started off on Blueface's show, after she went to Baddies and stuff like that, it is very safe to say that Chrisean likes having control of the narrative that's getting pushed about her. I don't know if you guys watch Baddies or if you guys have never heard of the show called Baddies, but Baddies is basically this show on Zeus Network that documents a bunch of girls that some of them have came from the old show called Bad Girls Club back when we were younger, and some of them are new, and Chrisean ended up being on Baddies for some of the seasons. I don't know if you guys remember when Baddies used to air back then, before it became like as popular as it is right now. Nobody could tell Chrisean anything. It seems like anytime Chrisean gets called out for something, whether she knows for a given fact she's right or she's wrong, she literally takes matters into her own hands and she decides to choose violence as a way to silence whoever is basically talking to her. And you know, some may argue and be like, well, that's the show. Baddies is about fighting. Baddies is about, you know, if I have a conflict with someone, we fight. We're not going to talk about it because that's the main part of Baddies. Like, that's the main part of the show. But what a lot of people have failed to realize is that Chrisean is like this regardless, because even outside of Baddies, there have been so many situations where she has hit people unprovoked. She has hit people at certain events, stolen off on people. She has had several domestic violence situations with Blueface where Blueface has hit her, she has hit him back. There have been times where she has literally drew blood from her body and wrote like "I love you" on Blueface's wall at his home. She has attacked Blueface's mom. She has attacked Blueface's baby mother. She literally uses violence as a way to try to shut people up. And I cannot fathom that she won't take it into her hands to silence people once and for all. It's actually very crazy because before Blueface went to jail, I remember everybody used to just always be like, even though Chrisean does a lot, even though Chrisean is a train wreck, Blueface is the perpetrator. I remember all of us thinking that Blueface was using her and that Blueface was basically manipulating her. And like I said before, I still do think that. I definitely do think that Blueface used her name as a way to garner views and revenue. And I feel like Blueface used the fact that Chrisean is not that intelligent emotionally or mentally to be able to articulate herself in a perfect manner, to basically play on our hearts and make it look like, look, I'm the intelligent one here. Look how she's acting, like, you know, she's always like attacking people, or she's always attacking me. Look how she portrays herself. And Blueface is definitely an instigator, because even when he was dating his other baby mama Jaden, he used to antagonize her, manipulate and do weird shit. And then whenever she popped off, that's when he would open up the camera and be like, look at her, look at her. And we used to see that a lot on lives with Chrisean. There would be several times where Blueface would be reading negative comments about her, or getting a laugh out of it, or getting like some type of happiness out of it. So I remember always looking at Blueface like he was the one that was wrong. Chrisean was wrong, but I just always used to be like, he's an antagonizer. Antagonizes the situation way too much, and he triggers her. And honestly speaking, he did. But at the same time, maturing is realizing that Chrisean was just as manipulative and just as triggering as he was. Best thing that could have happened is Blueface going to jail. Blueface ended up being on probation for prior charges, and he violated his probation, so he ended up getting sentenced to, I think, 3 to 4 years in prison. And he's been in prison, and he literally just got out the other day. And the reason as to why I say the best thing could have been Blueface going to jail is because we were able to see Chrisean fully for who she truly was. So when Blueface first went to jail, I remember Chrisean was going up to the court hearings, attending the courts, knowing that she had warrants out for her arrest for different crimes that she committed. I remember everybody was happy because we were like, yeah, like lock both of them up, because it became a point in time right before Blueface went to jail. I remember everybody was tired of both of them as a whole. I remember everyone was tired of him and her. It wasn't just, oh, he's doing wrong, or no, everybody was tired of them. And people also thought that this girl is very stupid and this girl is too crazy and a crash out dummy behind this man. Because if you know for a given fact that you have a warrant out for your arrest, why are you attending the court? That don't even make sense when you really think about it, you know what I mean? But when it comes to Blueface, Chrisean never makes sense. So she started off attending his court hearings till she ended up getting arrested. And I think she got put on probation. Don't quote me for it. But after his arrests were made and stuff like that, and he started serving his time, I remember there was a point in time where Chrisean was not that prominent on the internet as she was before he went to jail. Everybody being like, thank God, like we get a break from both of them, we get a break from him, we get a break from her. At this point, everybody's upset at Chrisean because a lot of people thought that when Chrisean got pregnant that she was going to turn over a new leaf and she was going to be a good mom. But throughout the whole pregnancy, you literally see Chrisean doing drugs, doing alcohol, smoking weed, taking shots at the club events and stuff like that.
Y'all was drinking, even you, with the baby and stuff. Why are you lying?
Really been flued out in real life though. Ladies, one more time.
Get yourself together.
Where the bottle at?
Oh my gosh.
Drink it.
She asked for another bottle. I'm just gonna get no liquor.
Yes, I can. I can abort the child tomorrow. It won't hurt me.
And this child ends up coming out disabled. It's actually crazy because from the very beginning, a lot of people called it. As soon as they saw the kid, they were like, this kid has fetal alcohol syndrome. The way this kid cries, it was a lot of mothers coming out with a lot of different speculation. Sean was mad at first because she felt like who were putting bad, like, you know, putting negative connotations on her kid. But in all honesty, she knew deep down inside that something was wrong with that kid, but she don't want to admit to herself that she was not the mother that she was supposed to be when that kid was in her belly. She wanted to blame Blue so much. She wanted to blame Blue for everything. She blamed everything on Blue. She said, oh, Blue didn't want the kid, or oh, Blue didn't think the kid was his. I remember before Blue went to jail, Blue ended up calling the kid Charles Barkley, saying that the baby looked like Charles Barkley, and everybody thought that that was funny, which in my honest opinion, I did not think that that was funny, because I feel like at the end of the day, like, even if you do not think that that is your kid, there's no reason as to why you as a grown man should be on the internet shaming a kid that could potentially be yours. I think it's very inappropriate and childish. And I remember her making the whole situation about Blue and about how Blue is allowing people to talk about his kid. I remember looking like, babe, people are going to talk about this kid regardless, because a lot of mothers are looking at your kid and knowing off rip that something is not right with your kid. I'm not going to sit here and say that I knew from the day I set my eyes on him that something wasn't right, because I have never been a mother. But I definitely remember seeing and reading a lot of people's speculations on what on the diagnosis that they think the kid had, being like, yeah, that kind of matches with her kid. And not even just physical wise, the way the kid would cry, the cry of the kid was not normal. The way the kid would look around, like the kid would not look around like a normal baby. People were trying so hard to tell Chrisean something is not right with your kid and you need to go get therapy. But because, like I said, Chrisean likes to control the narrative, and I'm not trying to diagnose her, but Chrisean definitely gives narcissistic vibes. She gives narcissistic vibes to the T, because she likes being in control of everything. And whenever the narrative is pushed in the manner that she doesn't like, she starts going out of control and her emotion starts flying off the wall and she starts becoming very violent and very reckless. That's why I think for a given fact that she has something to do with that boy's murder, the boy that she was messing with, because I think that she did not want him to tarnish her image about her going around sleeping around with him behind Blueface's back, because this whole time she's been trying to portray that she's been loyal to Blueface. She hasn't messed with anybody. Blueface has been messing around with everybody, has been also, you know, beating on her, and that this kid that is growing in her belly is his. Let's not also forget, Blueface made this girl have a lot of abortions before she had this kid Junior, meaning that Chrisean been wanting to have his kid, because Chrisean has been in competition with his baby mama Jaden, because she knows for a given fact that Jaden was the first girl to be in his life. Jaden was his high school sweetheart, and she was never going to become number one to his baby mama. She thought by having a kid by him that she was either going to become higher than her or be at the same level as her. She's been trying to have a kid by this guy for years so she could stay relevant in his life. This guy Ronnie coming on the internet and basically crashing her whole thing and saying that she was cheating the whole time and she was doing this and that, and that kid might be his. And the kid comes out and the kid doesn't look nothing like Blueface, and the kid looks more like Ronnie than Blueface. It definitely messes up the narrative that she's been trying to portray to the media for so many years. We are not going to continue this video without talking about Mr. Blueface himself. Mr. Blueface definitely exemplifies a lot of narcissistic behaviors as well. From mocking her consistently because he already knows that the internet thinks that she's a very slow human being and he adds fuel to the fire, to putting his hands on her when he knows that he is not supposed to be putting his hands on any woman, to being a dismissive avoidant as soon as she does something that he does not like. Treats her with sarcasm, distance, silence. As soon as she does something that he did not like in the past, he will literally run over to Jaden's house, to putting her in triangulations and shit. We can even call it hexagons with different women, various different women coming out saying that they have been sleeping with him while he was with her, or whenever she made him mad, he will go over to Jaden's house and play house with Jaden. Blueface is a very manipulative and narcissistic person too. That is the reason why these two cannot get along, because when you look at the dynamics of both of them, they are fighting for what? Control. They're both fighting for control. Blueface definitely used Chrisean for clout. He saw the light in Chrisean. He saw how much views she generated on the internet just by being herself, and he definitely harped on that fact and he took advantage of it. So there's a thing going on right now with Chrisean basically always saying that somebody's clip farming her or somebody's using her for clout, and people get so mad. It's like, Chrisean, like, you're the one who do things for clout. You're the one who do things, you know, so people can have your name in the media. Chrisean likes the clout. Chrisean likes attention, but she doesn't like when the attention gets spun differently. That's one thing about Chrisean. One thing that I've noticed about Chrisean throughout the years is that Chrisean does not mind being in the media. But when it gets pushed out in a way that she doesn't like it pushed out, that's when she starts saying people are using her for clout and stuff like that. But to play devil's advocate, the reason as to why I could feel like Chrisean feels like everybody is using her for clout is because how she came into this industry was through Blueface using her for clout. Let's be real. Blueface uses Chrisean for clout, and let's keep it a buck. Blueface rap career, as much as I used to listen to Blueface back then, because I'm not gonna lie, I used to listen to Blueface. I thought his music was funny. I thought that Blueface music is entertaining, and I think that Blueface is entertaining by just being himself. I think Chrisean is entertaining. I remember I used to watch Chrisean on Baddies and stuff and laugh. I think Chrisean is very entertaining. I think a lot of people just did not have it out for her after they seen the way she handled her child. I think that that was like everybody was like, yeah, I'm good. After they saw the way she handled Junior throughout her pregnancy, people were done. But outside of that, I think Chrisean is very entertaining as well. But let's be real. If Blueface never met Chrisean, I don't think he would still be in that spot, in this type of spotlight. The fact that Blueface has only been out of jail for a week and a half and he has so many views and he's working, don't get me wrong, I will never knock Blueface's hustle. Blueface is always figuring something out. Blueface is one of those people that don't rest. Blueface is one of those rappers who don't just stick to one type of stream of income, and he puts his foot everywhere, like in the entertainment industry, you know what I mean? So I definitely feel like he probably would have met another Chrisean, or but I don't think he would have been as popular and still as relevant as he is right now if he did not meet Chrisean. And I feel like he knows that, and I also feel like he knows that his name, his brand, his everything is tied to Chrisean. Because let's talk about Blueface getting out of jail. So recently Blueface got out of jail and he ended up going to DDG's live stream to live stream with DDG literally like the day after he got out of jail. And in jail, Blueface had a girlfriend named Angela. I don't know if she was his girlfriend or his wife. I'm not too sure. Don't quote me on it. But I guess the girl was mad because he wasn't picking up her calls, or I don't know. There was something that was going on between them. So he ended up calling Chrisean to come to the stream. Mind you, Chrisean was not invited to the stream. When Blueface was in jail, she literally was dating this other guy named Bino for a while, which she later on came out and said that it was a PR relationship. And it's actually very funny because as soon as Blueface was getting ready to come out, Now all of a sudden she wants to say it was a PR relationship and she never liked him and this and that. And I'm just looking like, girl, like keep it a band. You are just doing this and saying this stuff because you know that Blueface is getting out of jail soon, and you don't want him to question you about what you've been doing since he's been in jail. So he gets out of jail and Chrisean ends up coming to the live stream. And literally in the live stream, you can see Chrisean is all up on him because in her head, like I said, Chrisean likes to what? Control the narrative. Her head, she's thinking, he's out of jail. He called me here. You know, he's laughing with her. He's telling her, you know, are you a golden retriever? She's laughing. So he's making all these jokes. She's thinking, oh my God, I got back the guy that I truly love. Like the guy that I will stop anything for, the guy that I would do anything for. He's on live stream. She ends up bringing Junior, which is their kid, to the live stream. Blueface is showing very good signs of being a father to the kid. You can literally see the dynamic between Chrisean and the baby versus Blueface and the baby. Chrisean has Junior. You can tell she's ashamed of Junior. She always acts like she's not, but she's very ashamed of Junior. She's ashamed of the actions and the stuff that she did while she was pregnant with him. Whenever Chrisean is on live stream, she always wants to hide his face, show a little bit of him, have him wrapped up and bundled up like he's a kid, like he's still like a baby when this boy is like 3 years old or 2 years old. Blueface had him on stream. He was playing with him like a regular kid. He was playing with him like, you know, at the end of the day, Blueface has been a dad. He knows how to be a dad. She's thinking, wow, like, you know, this could be something good. Like, you know, we could get back on track. We can, you know, start our family again. You know, he could be taking care of Junior. And you can see now all of a sudden, you can literally see the dynamic switch. When Blueface came back home, now she's more attentive over Junior. She's looking over Junior more. She's paying more attention to Junior. You know why? Because Blueface is paying attention to Junior. And Chrisean is so obsessed with Blue that she's willing to do anything to keep him around. Anything as far as, if Blue likes my baby, now I like my baby too. If Blue is not ashamed of my baby, I am not ashamed of my baby as well. I think shit is sweet until they get off that live. And it's actually crazy because I feel like throughout the live, I think she started to peep, something not right. Because there were times where she kept trying to hold him from behind, or she was kissing on him. And you can literally see his body language was given like, girl, we are literally just here for entertainment and clout. We are not here because I really like you for real. We are literally just here because I just got out of jail and I'm trying to run up a bag. And what better way to run up a bag with somebody who I'm always with, that I always get clout from, that I always get views from? Because I'm being honest, I know for a given fact that if DDG was streaming with Blueface, he would have had those numbers regardless. But what were they most notorious for before he went to jail? Going on those YouTuber streams such as Chrisean, going to different streaming and different podcasts and different interviews and causing a chaos in those interviews. That's what they were most known for before he went to jail. So what better way to bring in the person that I was most known for when I used to go to these streams and these interviews and stuff like that? Chrisean, in that twisted head of hers, thinking that shit is sweet and that everything is just going to go back to normal because back home. After that stream is finished, he has all these different various women, He's going on 20v1 shows. He's talking to different women. They're saying he's dating a woman named Hazel E. We don't know whether it's PR or not. And he goes back home to his wife. He's not paying Chrisean no mind, and she does not like it. They end up doing a play date with Chrisean, Jaden's kids. And first of all, Chrisean was not supposed to be there, but she was there. Told Chrisean that if you are going to be here, you cannot record Jaden's kids because her and Jaden are not cool. The first baby mother does not like her. She ends up recording the kids. And that's what I said, the very manipulative behavior. You know, and it's kind of like the situation with Brene. You know for a given fact that you were given these rules not to record these kids, but you still took it upon yourself to do so because you're trying to get a rise out of the baby mother of that kid. Why? Like, why? Like, why can't you just be a grown adult and coexist between this woman, her kids, your kid, and this guy? Why? Because you want him. You want him, and you want to make a mark of, you can't tell me what to do. I do what I want to do. So Jada ends up crashing the party and taking her kids home, and Chrisean gets into a big argument with Blueface's mom, also with Blueface and with Jaden, and tries to fight all of them. Gets to the point where Blueface's mom comes out and says that she is going to make sure that they get a DNA test to figure out whether that kid is theirs or not. Sean ends up getting mad because Blueface is going on different shows making fun of the kid, which I don't even think he made fun of the kid. He was doing a 20v1 and one of the girls favored his son Junior, and he passed on her and said, "You look like my son," which, you know, did he need to say that? No. But Chrisean starts turning this thing into a, "You're insulting my kid, you're making fun of my kid, this and that," and people are confused and people are like, whoa, how is he insulting your kid, and why would somebody looking like your son be an insult? You know why? Because everything that Chrisean thought that was going on in her head is no longer going on.
You went out your way to say some goofy shit. You tell her, I'm not even gonna disrespect that girl, but you tell a girl she looked like our son. I asked DDG and G Herbo for advice, cause that nigga about to lose his life. Keep playing with my son. Swear to God. And you're cyberbullying too. You know what I want to do? I want to turn my flight back around and run a car through his house and shoot him in the face. That's what I want to do. That's how mad people keep making me about my kid, bro. It's my only son. Y'all pissing me the fuck off. Straight up.
Sean thought that Blueface was gonna come home and continue to be the dummy for her, continue to entertain her bullshit. But no, all those years that Blueface has spent in jail, he's had a lot of time to think about his situation, think about what he's been doing, think about his life. And I'm pretty sure his mom has told him, she's been doing ABCD. If you get out of jail and you continue to mess with this girl, you are definitely going to go down with her. And I'm gonna be real, I honestly feel like Blueface and the parents know that Chrisean has something to do with Ronnie's murder, because literally right after that whole situation happened on the 20v1 episode with Blueface, she literally started talking about him. Like, she started threatening to take him out, just saying things like he needs to go to jail, he needs to go back to jail, or he needs to go. And my thing is, why all of a sudden you don't get your way, now somebody needs to go?
It was working out. You feel me? What the heck? And then you try and make it seem like, oh, she want to be with me, so that's why she can't have a baby. We wasn't together when I pulled up. You had whatever you had going on, and I had a nigga. You forgot you stalked me out for saying bigot? Y'all mad at me because I said I will kill him. Because how many times you gonna keep disrespecting my kid? And you his father. Yes. I will say that every time to somebody that keep trying to play with my kid. This is my kid. He can't defend himself. So yes, it's up to me to kill your bitch ass.
Before we continue, another thing that I am going to add that I did not add in my video is that Blueface needs to keep Chrisean's name out of his mouth whenever he goes to interviews. And whoever is interviewing him, he needs to let them know that he will not do the interview if they speak on Chrisean. Because he cannot sit here and talk about how Chrisean is so horrible and she's a horrible mother and all this and that while continuously having her name in his mouth, knowing that it's triggering her. Because at the end of the day, when she was drinking and smoking and doing everything under the sun, he was not stopping her. He was not saying anything until it got out of hand. So if he does not want Chrisean to continue to talk about him, he needs to keep Chrisean's name out of his mouth as well.
Why is that? Like, why is it that, like, now because you did not get your way, because you did not get the ending that you thought you would get, you are now starting to decline because you thought that Blueface was going to be your golden ticket, because they both use each other for clout. It's not just one or the other. Both of them use each other for clout. But Blueface has started to understand that he is a brand within himself. Blueface has started to understand that he can entertain and he can put a mark in this industry without Chrisean. He's starting to get it through his head. So he does not need Chrisean, but Chrisean needs him, because Chrisean has burned all her bridges with everybody, down to her sister, because she has accused her sister of SAing her when she was a kid. I am not going to get into that because that's family matters, and we don't know who's telling the truth at the end of the day. We can feel how we want to feel about Chrisean, but maybe she's telling the truth, maybe she's not. So I'm not going to get into that. She's burned bridges with her sisters. Not even just Taseki, her other siblings that have been watching Junior. She has burned bridges with them behind watching that kid. She has burned bridges with Zeus Network. Let me have brought her back to Baddies USA that is currently filming right now. She literally did not do what she was supposed to do in her contract, and Lemmy decided to withhold all her revenue and kick her off the show and say she cannot come back to Baddies at all. He's burned bridges with everybody. Everything, like, I'm not trying to be mean, but Chrisean is an agent of chaos. Like, anywhere that she steps into, something bad happens. And she literally tried to revive herself and rebrand herself when he was in jail, and now that this whole thing has came full circle, it has definitely been a moment of what I said before in this video, her trying to appear to the audience and to us a certain way. She decided to start going to church, and I was, you know, looking at her like, you know, like, okay, let me see what she's doing when she first started going to church. But now that we know everything that we know that Chrisean uses God as a stepping stool to continue out her stupidity and back God up behind it. She needs to understand that God does not play with that. Like, saying that somebody needs to die in one sentence and then talking about Jesus in the next sentence is not, like, God does not play with darkness or evil. And it's very obvious that the reason as to why Chrisean decided to rebrand herself and go this Christian route is because she was guilty for how she went through this pregnancy, through that 9-month pregnancy with Junior. She was guilty about what she did, all the drinking, the smoking and everything. And she also knew that because Jonathan, aka Blueface, was in jail, she can no longer blame him for things. So she decided to go the Christian route to show people, like, look, when he's not around, look how holy I am. Look how much God has saved me. Look at this. And I'm not talking about nobody's journey, because we all backslide. We all do. Like, I'm not going to get too deep into her journey. But we know for a given fact that Chrisean used God as a crutch to try to portray to the internet that she was this good, holy, rebranded Christian. But as soon as that narrative wasn't getting pushed towards us, because we weren't buying it. Because after people started seeing Junior and seeing that as this kid was getting older, he wasn't developing, didn't nobody care about her Christian journey. When she seen that people were not buying it, that's when Chrisean went back to who Chrisean is, a chaos, an agent of chaos. And that is who she is now. And all in all, I am very happy that Blueface has learned a thing or two in jail, because he is not innocent as well. He definitely has a lot of growing up to do. You can literally tell that just throughout them years of Blueface going to jail, that he's definitely changed for the better. Still Blueface, you know, I remember seeing him in jail when he had his whole face tatted and stuff. I remember thinking like, oh my God, this guy's gonna come back a menace. He is not going to learn anything, da da da. But you can definitely tell that Blueface has went through a lot in prison, and I feel like that's definitely made him change his perspective on life. The only thing that I will ask is that they need to keep Chrisean's name out of their mouth. Blueface is deciding that he wants to leave Chrisean in the past. He needs to stop going on interviews and talking about her. He needs to stop bringing her up in different streams and stuff like that. She thought that she was going to be cooped up in Blue's house, and she's starting to see that's not happening. This girl is literally a ticking time bomb, and I don't want anything bad to happen to anybody because this girl does not know how to regulate and control her emotions. The best way to get her to regulate and control her emotions is through stop mentioning her name and just co-parent with her. And I know it's easier said than done, because some co-parenting with somebody like Chrisean is that's a challenge. But at the same time, as long as Blueface keeps his distance from her and he keeps her name out of his mouth, I think he's good. But if Blueface decides to go back and deal with her, because like I said, I feel like Blueface has a couple of missing screws as well. And I also feel like Blueface uses Chrisean for clout. So I have a strong feeling that if Blueface is ever feeling like his clout is dying out, I don't think, I won't put nothing past him going back to deal with Chrisean again for views and stuff like that. And all I say is he's gonna be his own demise if he decides to go back and entertain that shit. I hope he puts it behind him, and I hope he learns his lesson. Innocent baby has been not granted the opportunity to actually live life because of these two's actions. Because a lot of people talk about Chrisean doing drugs, but there were times where Blueface was right there encouraging her to do so. That's pretty much it, y'all. That's all I have to say. Y'all let me know y'all's thoughts. Y'all let me know y'all's opinions. Y'all let me know how y'all feel. I know y'all gonna give me the business. Y'all always have opinions. Also, like I said, please be sure to give this video a thumbs up so I can definitely see if I'm going to start Vlogmas. I love you guys so much. Expect a little bit more videos this month, but if you guys don't see as much videos, just know I'm preparing for Vlogmas. I love y'all, and I will see y'all in the next one. Bye, y'all.